Hi everyone! It's already the 6th episode of my vegetable soup series, and this time we're going to France to try an absolute classic, soupe à l'oignon. It's arguably the most famous onion soup out there, and it's got to be for this delicious bread and cheese topping. But let's see how to make it. Here's half a kilo of onions, which I'm going to slice to about 3mm thick. To avoid tears, get yourself a good knife. The sharper the better. Otherwise, you can use a mandolin or a food processor if you want to speed things up. Slices don't have to be super thin. We're going to stew the onions for a while, so they're going to become very soft anyway. Also, they're all brown onions, but you can mix them with some red ones if you want to add color and increase sweetness. Yay! I made it through without wearing goggles. And now, the cheese. I'm going to grate 150 grams of emmental. The traditional choice is Gruyere, but in principle, any cheese that melts easily and becomes a bit stretchy will do. So emmental, comté, gouda, even a young cheddar would work. Let's do the onions now. I'm going to start by melting 60 grams of butter in a pot. Make sure you use one with a thick bottom. Better if stainless steel or enameled cast iron like this one, so the onions stick to the bottom and caramelize without burning. So I'll throw in all of them, and I'll coat them well in butter. I will also add a pinch of salt to help them sweat, basically to release their moisture. Then I'll cover the pot with a lid, and I'll let them stew for 20 to 25 minutes on medium to low heat, but I'll check and give them a stir every 5 minutes or so. As I said, the onions have to caramelize, but it's a slow and gentle process, so don't be tempted to turn up the heat to speed things up. Some even add a bit of sugar from the beginning to enhance caramelization, but I don't think it's necessary. You can also do it if you think that the onions you're using are too bitter. If you see that they're starting to char, you can always add a splash of water, but the natural moisture of the onions, which is trapped by the lid, should be more than enough to allow them to stew without adding water. To me, the onions are good to go when they're lightly golden like this, but you can cook them a bit longer until they're brown if you prefer. So I'll go ahead and deglaze the bottom of the pot with half a glass of dry white wine. Basically, you use a spoon to scrape off those caramelized bits and to bring their flavor back into the soup. Before you add any liquid, you can also add a tablespoon of flour and cook it for about a minute if you want a thicker soup. I'll just wait a couple of minutes with the lid off while most of the alcohol evaporates. At this point, I'll add a liter of beef stock that I've just reheated. This is the traditional choice, but you can substitute it with chicken or vegetable stock if you prefer. I'll let it simmer for another 10 minutes, but careful not to reduce the soup too much if your stock is already quite salty. In the meantime, I will slice some bread. A baguette works great in this case, not only because it's French, but because you can arrange the slices more easily in the dish. I'm going to toast them in the air fryer for 5 minutes. This is not only to give them a bit of crunch, but to dry them up and to prevent them from dissolving in the soup when I lay them on top. Before I turn off the heat, I'll finish the soup with some freshly ground black pepper. And now I'll transfer it to 2 clay pots. Well, these are larger than the ones that are typically used for an onion soup, but they will do. Then I will lay 4 or 5 slices of bread over it. And I'll top it with the grated cheese. Technically, the correct name for this soup when it's topped with cheese and then baked is gratinée à l'oignon. And so to brown it, I'll transfer it to the air fryer for 10 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Compared to the classic oven broiler method, the air fryer will make the cheese topping crispier but also less gooey, because the air convection mechanism dries it up quickly, so it depends on how you prefer it. Well, here it is. A blanket of melted cheese over slices of toasted bread and a jam-like onion compote in a rich broth. Would you imagine that you could get such a delicacy from a few simple ingredients? It's the ultimate comfort food. Savory, sweet, gooey, and deeply satisfying. So, are you going to give it a try? Let me know in the comments. And if you love soups, you can check the previous episodes of this series. I'll put the links in the description. I'll be trying more vegetable soups in the next episodes, so stay tuned. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It's free and it would truly help my channel. So, where are we going next?